Welcome everyone, hopefully you guys are doing awesome. My name is Itai. Pogchamps 2 quarterfinals is kicking off today with the matchups of Dog against Wagamama, Gripix against davidpakman, and xQc against Cizzorz. I'll be covering all of the games today, as well as many games in the future, so make sure you guys subscribe so you keep yourselves updated. So the final match of the day, xQc against Cizzorz. Now xQc starts with the black pieces, and already from the start, you see that Cizzorz has a very nice possibility here to just trade everything down. When the bishop moves to b4, there's a very nice d5 move, now offering a trade of basically everything in the center. You'll notice that black can take the free pawn because there's no longer a knight defending it, but then after take, and then obviously taking the pawn back, you have equal material and just a lot of pieces in the center that are just gone and no longer there. So this is a very simplified position, but just because it's simplified does not mean that there's no tactics. In fact, one idea, when the knights are like looking at each other like this, you have ideas of moving queens onto e2 or e7, and then preparing, once the knight moves, to actually win the other queen with this discovered check. And I'll show it a little bit better in a second. In fact, after d5, taking away the pressure from f7 and kicking the bishop back, we see this move from xQc. So xQc playing wonderful chess. So e7, and the idea, I'll say it again, is once the knight moves, let's say, I don't know, here, or let's say here even, there's this beautiful knight to c3 move, winning the queen. And this is an idea that happens when the knights are kind of next to each other like this in the center. And so xQc finds it, and the only real, well, there's a couple, but a real good move is d4, defending the knight and not obviously falling into this trap. But now we see f6, so it seems like xQc brings back the pressure, and actually it seems like he's winning the knight. But then we see the only good move in the position from Cizzorz, the literally only saving move, which is queen to h5 check. And both players have found literally, if not the best move, one of the best moves for the past like 5 moves. It's been really good so far. And now we see, so the point of this move is that if g6, you can simply take the pawn because of this pin of the pawn here. And that's exactly what happens. Cizzorz takes the pawn here. And then after the queen moves here, adding more pressure to the knight. And notice that the knight really can't move because then you lose your queen. So another great find from xQc. But the thing is, there are a couple of solutions here for white. A couple of creative ones as well. So for example, knight to f4 defends the queen and gets away from this pressure here. The other move that's actually very good is a3. The point is, after the knight moves back, you have this move, hitting the queen, but also adding pressure on the knight and just having a very central piece. And then the final move that's very good, that I actually did not find when actually looking at this position in the game, is queen to e2. And this is actually what he played. I looked at the other 2 options. I didn't look at this option, but it does seem to work because after queen takes, you have f3, and obviously the knight being pinned, it cannot move. So you're going to win the knight. So it seems very good. But instead, the problem is he doesn't play f3 here. So Cizzorz had the opportunity to win back material, but instead of f3, and also there's another possibility, which is queen to b5. It's a very tactical-filled game. And then this is just obviously forking the knight and the king. But the problem with this move is that then after this is resolved, the pawn here is hanging, right? So f3 is by far the best move, but he doesn't play it. Instead, he just castles. So he loses the advantage. And here you can move the knight back away from danger, but instead he brings another piece into the attack, threatening mate here. Very fantastic move. You can still play f3 in this position, hitting the knight and bringing a defender into the g2 square. And so this is one way to save it. But in the game, the move queen to f3 was played, which is also saving it. And now this is a very unfortunate position because xQc was looking at all of his options. And I actually was looking at his stream while he was doing this. He was hovering over the knight. Oh, where can it go? What can I do? And then he was like, okay, let me go here. But then the bishop takes and I lose my attack. The point of this move is to put pressure here, stopping the queen from taking here. But obviously the bishop can just take. And xQc actually saw this and he commentated about this, but he accidentally misclicked and played this move anyways. So that's just super unfortunate because he realized what was wrong with it before he played it. So it's just really unfortunate for him. Obviously, he loses material here, and it just continues going downhill. The king is checked, meaning the king is now forced out of his spot from ever being able to castle. Not that he will be able to castle anytime soon. And also, notice that now that the king is here, there's a very nice tactical possibility, which is a3. Once the knight moves, taking this pawn because the knight is no longer defending it, and then, well, obviously winning the exchange after the king moves. So that's a very nice idea that Cizzorz found. And after the rook centralizes, you have a trade, and then the knight is taken. There's a couple of checks. There's some more trading happening, and then mate is very soon to happen. So this is how the game ends. So Cizzorz wins. It's again very unfortunate what happened here in a couple moves ago, where he loses some material because of a misclick. But that's kind of what happens in online chess, and that's what you have to deal with. So thank you guys for watching the first game, and now let's move on to the second game. For a second, I thought that the video ended. I was about to do my outro, but no, we have a second game where xQc can redeem himself and hopefully get a win. So we have game 2, xQc with the white pieces, and he's faced against a very solid setup, the Philidor defense, and now we see bishop b5 and a6. a6 is not a move I typically play. I would just focus on developing more because this bishop doesn't harm me in any way. But here the bishop takes, and rather than taking back, Cizzorz defends the check with the bishop. So this is obviously a huge blunder. Now you might be thinking, okay, maybe he pre-moved this to get away, maybe he expected the bishop to come here and then this is a fine move. But instead, I mean, he didn't pre-move this because it took him 1.9 seconds to do this. So that's not a pre-move. So I really can't justify why he did this. Maybe a misclick or something like that. But I wasn't on his stream, so I don't know. But he did blunder here. And xQc has a huge advantage from the start. And because he has an advantage, he goes on the attacking side, attacks f7. So Cizzorz decides to defend it by blocking this thing here. But that comes in the exchange of a pawn. So obviously Cizzorz is down more material now. Now in this position, there's a very critical, possibility, which is taking the pawn here because of check and only then recapturing. But instead, Cizzorz doesn't see this. He recaptures immediately. And here there's a beautiful possibility for white, actually. Once the rook moves back, you can fork both of the rooks, but there's something arguably even more beautiful, which is queen to c4, forking the rook, and not forking the other rook, but actually forking a fork. So that's something that is very rare in chess, but it's really beautiful. And this is actually what happened. The rook moves back, xQc gets the other fork, and I mean, this is really beautiful chess. And here Cizzorz actually resigned because there's no real point of continuing. He's down a ton of material, and xQc can certainly close out the game. Let's move on to game 3 and see what happens. We're moving on to a tiebreaker game. Cizzorz has the white pieces, and already from the start, a very aggressive d5 push was played, and a lot of trades happened. So already a very simplified position. The knight comes out here, and there's a beautiful opportunity to take a pawn here and, take even more material after that, but he doesn't find it. And of course, they're under so much time pressure. It's a very quick match, like 5 minutes each. So they don't have a lot of time to think or anything, but still that was a possibility that could have been very nice. And after trading here, there's another, similar possibility. In fact, almost the exact same thing, taking the pawn here, and he finds it. Now there's only one move that can save black in this position, which is queen over here to c6. The idea is everything is defended now, but xQc doesn't find this. He just castles, loses some material, and it seems like it's already game over, but, it's a very quick game, so a lot of blunders could happen. Both players take out some material. Now here's one scenario where a blunder could happen. If white took the bishop here, obviously black can just take the pawn here. So this was a very tricky move. Instead of taking back, he kind of gives up, I guess, and moves the knight to c2 instead, just kind of ignoring this queen here that he could have taken. The queen takes. He just continues to kind of ignore the threats. But I mean, in this case, I guess it's just his belief in himself is so low. He's just, he's gone so far, but he can't really do much anymore. So he, it seems very bad for him. So he just kind of rushes into different moves. Now in this position, one thing, I don't exactly know how the game continued. I know that after a couple of moves, you land yourself at this position, where this move is played. but I don't exactly know because the stream that I was watching didn't show it. They kind of just skipped around. But if you are interested for the next few moves, then in the description I will try to put the PNG for this game, and then you'll be able to exactly know what happened. But for now, I mean, that can't really, I don't exactly know what happened, but the position was changed to this. Some checks happened. It seemed like everything is game over until queen takes h7 was played, and this is stalemate. So xQc somehow manages to get a stalemate, and so we're moving to a second tiebreaker. This is the first time I've ever seen it happen in Pogchamps. I don't know if it actually has happened in Pogchamps because I've basically been keeping up with all the games, but maybe I missed a few where it happened, but I don't remember this happening in any Pogchamps. So this is crazy. It's a second tiebreaker. We start with a very similar opening, and this time obviously xQc has the white pieces. Again, very quick game, so they don't have a lot of time to think. And for example here, that's kind of when it comes in. Black quickly moved the queen away from danger when he should have obviously just taken the knight. So he blunders a full piece, and then he blunders even more, or doesn't blunder, but he trades more material there. And so it already seems like Cizzorz has a horrible position, and xQc finds some wonderful ideas. He checks here, the bishop's pinned, he plays a beautiful move. This is actually fantastic. The idea is if queen takes, you obviously take the rook. This is really good chess by xQc. So when it matters, he proves that he can play good chess. He blunders a few pieces though. Kind of just becomes a race of who can move the pieces faster because they don't have any time basically. And actually in this position, after the queen moves, white ran out of time. So it's a horrible ending. xQc clearly should win this game. He has a huge advantage. He can easily give mate in just a couple of moves, but he doesn't have the time for it, and it becomes, well, actually black wins because he has a queen, so he has the possibility to mate. So it's super unfortunate. First the misclick, then he ran out of time. In the second tiebreaker, it's a horrible way to lose. It's just, the game just stretched on, but in the end, xQc loses. So I'm very disappointed, not necessarily by his skills. He played wonderful chess, but just how the result turned out. But that's how it is. So Cizzorz wins the whole match. Let me know down below what you thought of the match. It was a very different style to what we've seen before. We have two tiebreakers, something I've never seen before. So let me know down below what you think of it. Also subscribe if you never want to miss these Pogchamps videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.